So with this, I welcome both of you and Manish. Thank you for organizing one more assurance talks and giving me this opportunity. And now, may I invite Dr. Bhagwan Chaudhary to share his experiences of how it was and how he felt and what went in. And after that, Swati, I'll come to you.
Okay.
Dr. Chaudhary.
Okay, thank you, Krishna. Thank you, Manish. Uh, Health is an interesting topic. It's an interesting thing in life. And as you get older and older, health starts to mean more and more to you, which you don't think a lot about when you are young. But of course, the current pandemic changed everything for everyone. Now everybody is sort of tuned into what health means and how we want to take care of ourselves. The big change that has happened in the last 2 decades, of course, is technology. And technology has made a lot of changes. It has made a lot of things easier. It has made access easier. But when it comes to health, that human touch is still very, very important. So the connection you have with your doctor seems really, really important. When I contracted COVID, I wasn't sure. I felt a little irritation in my throat, a little cough. And I came home and I told Swati that I think I'm feeling something. And we waited for one more day and then we thought that we need to get tested, I think. So one of the things is early testing, early intervention. Very, very important. But something interesting happened, which is when I was looking through how I'm going to get tested or how I'm going to deal with this COVID, I learned from my ISB friends that Nano Health was involved. And I have to tell you, just hearing that made all the difference. Why? Because I knew Manish. Manish is an ISB alum, and I knew him personally. So that personal connection, now that Manish will come and take care of me somehow, changed everything for me. So that's the human part. That's the human part. It made a big difference to me that I will be in the hands of somebody I know. But now let me tell you the technology part. If I had gotten COVID in March and April when it first started, I would have been devastated because nobody knew what was going on. You had to go to this government hospital and God knows what the conditions were. So we were really, really scared at that time. The fact that it happened much later to us in September meant that a lot of things were in place. Nano Health had put this thing in place. And Manish said, don't worry, somebody will come at home to take your samples. Okay, big relief. And then they told us about this package where somebody would call me every day to monitor what the situation was and then decide what needs to be done. That also changed everything because I felt comfortable in my own home knowing that Swati was there who would take care of me if anything went wrong. So again, human touch plus technology. Now let me tell you a little bit and then I'll stop and we can come back to it. Over the course, every day I will get a call from a nurse and I'll get a call from the doctor, a video call. So this is where technology comes in. You would think that that's not as good an experience as visiting a doctor. But for me, it was better because otherwise I would have had to arrange for a car, go to a hospital, worry about who I'm getting in touch with, wait for the doctors, and so on and so forth. And God knows in COVID situation, and in general, I worry about going to hospitals because hospitals are the place where you get sick, not where you get treated. You get treated too, but you're also worried about getting all kinds of sickness. the fact that I could talk to a doctor every day. And what they did was the doctors that worked with me told me that I could call them anytime during the day. Made all the difference. Because of this, most of the time I stayed at home. And there was only one time when the doctor suggested that I go to Continental Hospital and get my chest scanned because he was a little worried. I had some high fever. He was a little worried that there might be some congestion in my chest. Even that experience, going to Continental, because I was going through this doctor, through Nano Health, changed my experience completely. Everything was set up. I went there, they were all ready with the paperwork. Within 5 minutes, I was taken inside, the scan was done, and I left because I didn't have to worry about collecting the report. Those were automatically going to be sent to my doctors from Nano Health. So again, it gave me an assurance. To talk about assurance, it gave me an assurance that everything will be taken care of. And I want to say one last thing, which is, especially in India, I have worried about the fact that if I go to the hospital, are the hospitals going to tell me things that are not true? I go with a cough, are they going to say, oh, get tested for this, get tested for this? And so there is this trust element. Here, I was going through Nano Health. So the doctor who was diagnosing me was not the doctor who was giving me that test for chest X-ray. So the separation was important because I knew that the doctor who I was talking to for Nano Health was looking out for my interests. So I'm going to stop here and say this conjunction of technology and human, both were very, very important. And what technology is allowing us to do through this telemedicine is, you see, the good thing about preventive health is, I remember when our kids were young, and when your kids are small, you worry about every little thing. They sneeze and you say, oh my God, what's happened to them? Do a little, the spit comes out, so we call the doctor all the time. And most pediatricians will tell you that sleep over and call me in the morning because they knew 90% of the time nothing was wrong. Everything will be okay. The same thing is true with this preventive telemedicine. If you can just talk to the doctor, they will tell you, don't need to go to the hospital. So 90% of your visits to the hospital can be avoided because 90% of the time, self-care with the help of other doctors is going to be sufficient. And that was indeed the case with me. And I am grateful for both technology in my life and the humans that I trust in my life. I'm going to stop here.
Yeah, that's very good, Dr. Chaudhary. In fact, when I went to the hospital, it was quite a traumatic experience.
Oh.
Just like you say this, in fact, I was going to Kondapur, KIMS Kondapur, and first they made us sit in the parking lot for almost half an hour.
Oh.
Okay, and they had just put a shamiana there, and we were sitting there. And then my name was called, and some doctor came and saw me. And then I was asked to do a CT scan because I am also a hypertension patient. So I was asked to do a CT scan, and when I went there, I could see people were just vanishing because there was a band in my hand, which orange color band, which said I am a positive guy. And wherever I went in the hospital, I could see just, people standing away. And when I went to the CT scan room, I was standing alone there. The guy was giving me instructions from some place, and I could hear his voice. Okay. It was like, it has never been so. But that is what they are worried about because they are equally vulnerable, and they are some people who are really at high risk. But what was also happening is mentally it was quite, horrifying, and given the stories of corona that's going in the media and the world around, and in fact, just a few days before I was tested positive, two of my ex-colleagues passed away, and one was hardly 41. And then after that, I get tested positive, and I was so devastated. Like, I mean, in fact, we got this positive report at 1 a.m. in the morning, and 1 a.m. to almost 5 a.m. we were like wondering what next to do. In fact, I knew I'm a hypertension patient. I knew what would happen. I knew, in fact, what are the consequences. And, uh, until unless we got to hear people give us some assurances, it was very destructive and very, very damaging, in fact, very serious. And this is where I would invite you, Swati. And in fact, I think I think some of the diseases, more than the physical part, the mental part becomes a real serious. Like, and if the disease gets into the head, I think even the best treatment becomes a difficult one. So, Swati, can you just highlight about how mentally we need to fight some of these things?
Yeah. Thank you, Krishna, and thank you, Manish. And the question you are raising is so important. Before I get into the mental part, I also want to say that, like Bhagwan said, the fact that we connected with Nano Health right away. First of all, early intervention. As soon as Bhagwan said he had a scratchy throat, my first response was, let's get the test. So immediately next day we got the test done, and then whatever resting, isolation, talking to the doctor. But I thought that what I liked about connecting with Nano Health was it was like a one-stop solution. Like you said, you went to the hospital and you had to get tested. We avoided that part. Someone came home and took the sample and did the testing, and the doctor was talking to us through video conferencing. When he found out that maybe Bhagwan should get CT scan, then he arranged. I mean, Bhagwan didn't have to like wait in the parking lot like you said, because things were arranged by Nano Health with Continental. So these kinds of things, it also is about the mental aspect. The fact that, the fear and the worry gets reduced, and a doctor is going to talk to you every day. Just knowing that can help you to feel a little bit relaxed. And speaking of the mental health part, this part is also just as important, I think, to have that sense of relief, or to know that there is going to be somebody talking to you and taking care of you. That itself reduces the stress so much. Having said that, because of what you hear about COVID, there are a lot of mental health issues that come up, right? I mean, even when you may not have COVID at that time, there are certain issues. When you have COVID, first of all, one of the things that can happen is because you're very tired, you feel fatigue. And that fatigue, physical fatigue, can also make you feel a little bit down and depressed. I don't know if that was your experience also, but the anxiety and depression can be on the high level when you are going through this. And another thing I want to say, this is like, I would actually like to find out, Krishna, also from Nitya. For women, it is also a little bit different because, first of all, women are the caretakers in the house, typically speaking, traditionally speaking. So that means even when you have COVID and you are sick, you still have to take care of everything, like how to arrange for the food and how to take care of whoever is sick. So that can be a little bit challenging, I think, because it's really hard to completely rest. And since that's what they advise during COVID time, to completely rest, and if you are not able to do that, I think that creates its own challenge. I don't know what Nitya's experience is. I will talk about the mental health part more, but I'm curious to know what's your experience when it comes to this. Nitya?
Yeah, thanks, Swati. In fact, let me introduce Nitya.
Hello.
She's my wife, okay, and one is both of us got infected at the same time. In fact,
yeah.
I'll just share how it all started. I am a coffee addict. and I cherish a good filter coffee every morning. And over the 2 or 3 days, the taste started changing. And first, I thought it was a fault of the coffee, and or rather, fault of the way it was being made. But then, after 2 or 3 days, when I saw it was still, deteriorating, the second test I wanted to do was, and thanks to my association with Manish and Dr. Harshita Jain and all these people, I said, let me test the thing and test my smell. And I took a little bit of a aftershave and smelt it. It was not. I mean, I couldn't smell it. I mean, there was no smell coming in, and that is when I kind of pressed the panic button. And in case of Nitya, she had a fever, intermittent fever for last 2 3 days during this more or less same time. And both of us, when we consulted our family doctor, of course over the phone, he said just go get your COVID test done. And we got the test done. Same time, both of us went for the test. Both of us tested positive the same time. And like I said, 1 a.m. I get my first message. I get a text message that, sir, yours is a positive report. And within 5 minutes, she gets it that, yes, you are also positive. And that was a very shattering. And I think from there, I think if somebody took care of the house in a very, very, what I call it as a strongly, it was Nitya. And now I will ask Nitya to share her experience.
Yeah, hi, I'm Nitya. Uh, Actually, it was very difficult first 2 3 days, like taking care of everybody and taking a healthy, nutritious diet also. I
Yeah.
was feeling very tired and weak because of the medicine. Because I already had fever and I had body pain and everything, but it was recovering. Then suddenly I lost my smell. Then we went for the test. But after taking the medicine, the weakness and all everything was there. But uh, with all that also, I was very concerned about him because he is a hypertension patient. So we were very scared of it.
Right.
And moreover, my son and both my sons, I have to keep them away from me. My elder son, he doesn't understand. He's very close to me. He always is with me only. So first thing came to my mind is what to do with him. I can't isolate him completely. And like it was a miracle. Like he adjusted it very well. I think something he understood. I told Amma is having fever, so he should not come to me. Doctor has told me, and he knows the doctor also. So he did not come. We both were isolated in one room. He used to stand outside and see. He was very cooperative. Actually, it was so good. And cooking part only, I was very scared. Everybody were asking, "You are only cooking and giving," but no other choice. We don't want to bring food from outside. Again, children may get infected, and we don't know how they are cooking and all. So somehow I was able to manage. I have to manage my 3 dogs. I have to cook for them. At least
Wow.
they're eating something and managing. They don't understand. No, I have to cook for them. So it was very challenging. Getting up in the morning was a real pain for me. I used to sleep till 10:30 in the morning. That was not my habit. But it was very difficult. With great difficulty, I used to get up and cook. I just used to go down, cook, and then come and sit in my room, isolate myself.
Yeah, so I find that COVID has these challenges that sometimes we don't think about, but like once I knew that we were going to get tested for COVID. First of all, I stopped the help from coming in. That's what you're talking about. The usual help does not come in the house. So you are sick and you are supposed to take care of everything. And so my sister in Los Angeles, she was very sick, and that was in March. So she really suffered. And she was so sick, she couldn't get out of bed at all. I mean, at all. So our symptoms were relatively so much more milder. And the fact, Nitya, that you were able to cook at all just shows that even in your case, in spite of the challenge, at least it was possible to do it. So I was in fact going to suggest to Manish, one of the things maybe he can offer or somebody can offer as part of the COVID care is, if they want, maybe some healthy and nutritional food cooked in the and delivered in the healthy way, COVID healthy way, may be something one could use at that time. And luckily for us, our friends, they did send us food, and they knew about, like what containers to use and these kinds of things. They would leave it outside our door, and we didn't have kids to worry about with us. That is another reason why you were being even more careful than usual, right? Because you didn't want any infection to come in the house. I also want to point to one other thing. I think, speaking of women, like I was talking to Nitya, I think also women, are the caretakers. They give, whatever the care and the love and nutrition and TLC, tender love and care. But sometimes, I think they need it too. I think it is something other people around you sometimes don't realize. So especially during COVID time, because of the challenges, I felt like after 2-3 days, after I became sick also, and I was trying to rest, and that really helped, that food came from outside. But then I got a little bit better, and I started doing a little bit of cooking. And then again, one day I had a headache, and I was worried, and I couldn't sleep properly and all that. So I was like, oh my God, I hope that I'm not getting something again. But, Bhagwan was also sick at the same time. So he wasn't the one who could give me, because when you're sick, you feel more vulnerable. You want people to ask you what's going on, are you okay, and these kinds of things. And I literally talked to my sister and my daughter who's in Los Angeles, because I knew that I would get that kind of concern from them. So that's the other thing I thought, especially with COVID, because there is more worry and more concern, and so many stories, and every little thing matters so much more. It's not like usual flu. So you are more worried, and you do want that TLC. And I think that's a little bit, sometimes, again, that's the other thing I was wondering about, what was Nitya's issue about, experience when it came to this part.
Yeah, but the bigger issue for us was also, we were carrying COVID within ourselves. So sometimes if you step out, you might infect somebody else, that was also such a stressful thing. So Dr. Chaudhary, I want to invite you here, and see, basically one thing that happens is, for someone like you who has spent a lot of time in a country like US and possibly got, very good, used to a lot of perfect systems or very good systems. How was your experience, or how was your, feeling the moment you thought you were positive? Dr. Chaudhary, you're mute. Yep.
Yeah, it is a good question. I think, again, I'll use my technology and human metaphor. I think we are better off in India at the human connection. It's easier to connect to people. It's easier to feel that, they understand you. So that part feels safer as long as you're not too sick. If you become too sick, then you want to be in a place where they have the best scientific and technological advanced equipment available. Then you would feel that, oh my God, I should have been at the UCLA hospital. So in the hospitals in the US, things are a little bit more impersonal. So you don't feel necessarily connected to your doctor. Somebody will come and then somebody else will come, and you're waiting and you don't know what's happening. But at the same time, you know that perhaps the care you have, the equipment you have is probably the best. So I think it's a case of small versus large. If you are really, really sick, I would be happier being in the US. If I'm not really, really sick, if I'm sort of sick, I prefer being in India, because I think the human touch is more important. So that's kind of my feeling about, being in the US versus India. Now, I think some changes are happening in India that is making you even more assured that even technologically, we have all what we need. So I think we are on a path where that worry would slowly start to disappear as well. So we might end up with a better healthcare system. That's a possibility. Then a system in the US which is very impersonal, and whatever the doctor says, you can't question, and your bills are going to be extraordinary. And then if you have insurance, then you don't care. But if you don't have insurance, you would be worried about that as well. So these are different trade-offs, I think, between the healthcare system. And I feel like this century, the 21st century, is going to be all about health. That's going to be our number one preoccupation. We are living longer, which means we are going to be sick for a longer period of time before dying. So the need for healthcare will be much bigger, but also an understanding that you have to do preventive things will also become more important. So I think organizations will have to take up that role, not individuals. I think individuals are very poor at forecasting what they need, because we always feel until you're sick, you feel like nothing is going to happen to me, right? And when you feel sick, you feel betrayed. You feel, why did this happen to me? But organizations can put in systems where these systems are in place. So at a corporate level, if they always make sure that all your employees are insured, they're insured not just for after medicine care, but before medicine care, preventive thing. I think those things are better provided by organizations and corporations. And I think that's the way we need to move. I will stop here.
Can I say something about this? Not the organization part, but the prevention part. I also feel that during the lockdown for all those 6-7 months, I think in some sense we were building our immune system in terms of, like regular exercising, eating healthy, because there was no help coming and usual going out and all these kinds of things were minimized, or rather were not happening. So I feel, and we were taking supplements. So in some sense, the fact that we were paying attention to our immune system, I think really helped us both to have mild symptoms. That's what it felt like. So in any case, talking of prevention. And typically what happens is, in terms of prevention, we go and the doctor tells us, like, oh, you have maybe pre-diabetic or whatever, this is what you should do. And then we don't follow up on it. But I think it is so important to follow up on whatever advice is given, like whatever supplements or whatever exercises or they do give. I think it is really important. And another thing I want to point to is the difference between the US and India. When it comes to COVID, actually, I would say I am glad that I was in India. Because I think US is very chaotic. I was very chaotic, and even now, getting a test and everything, you have to actually go there, and the human touch that Bhagwan is talking about is less. So the fact that we were in India and we had somebody like Nano Health taking care of us and having, human support system made a big difference. And I really think that although overall, when you are dealing with something serious, the technology or all that is more important. But COVID, I think it's not so much about technology. It is about knowing different cases and having the knowledge and somebody who you can trust giving you the care. I think so. In that sense, I'm glad that I wasn't in the US, because I know a lot of friends who have experienced COVID situations in the US. And even getting the test was very hard in the beginning. Now, I guess it's not as hard, but you have to actually go there. So,
Yeah.
Sorry, good evening. Good evening, everyone. I'm sorry to interrupt. Myself, I'm Surya. I'm the general manager of a VFX company. We do have a sister concern company called Smiley Kiddos, which we generally deal with all kind of medical things. We just started in the month of March because of the COVID. We thought to retain an employees. Actually, Smiley Kiddos is something about a stationery products, a kid stationery product. It's a Canadian brand. We do general bags and stationery. Since we have 800 employees, we thought, okay, we'll try to retain them somehow. And we started stitching masks. We started supplying PPE kits and everything from the March onwards. After we complete lockdown, we started these services from March. So what I observed, I'll just share it. So then you may get some picture with that. I have visited more than 600 plus hospitals and about 2000 plus corona patients and more than about 2 to 3,000 doctors in this part 5 to 6 months. See, what I observe is, first of all, there is no medicine for COVID. There is no particular that you take this medicine and COVID is gone. So once a patient goes to a hospital, nobody knows what the hospital is doing with them. Because when there is no medicine, but the bills are like 10 lakhs, 15 lakhs, 20 lakhs. Like if you go to Kim Sunshine, there is nobody coming out with less than 10 to 12 lakhs of billing. When there is no medicine, we don't know how this is costing. Second thing, everybody is saying to wear mask continuously so that to protect from COVID virus. But end of the day, when we end up in hospital, they are telling it's lack of oxygen and they're trying to give oxygen more. We use mask and we are reducing the levels of oxygen intake. And again, we are suffering and we are making more prone to get, exposed to COVID things. Because when oxygen levels are going very less to in our body, we frequently get easily attacked. So there is some gap in between all.
Surya, I'm sorry to interrupt you here. Surya, would you like to share something which is like most of what you're saying is already known, but would you like to share something which is of a larger interest to the people who are here, to the audience, in terms of where do you contribute value or something of value to us?
See, one thing is, like they said in US, there are like more hygiene practice and everything. Now the organizations have to look into this. It's not just an organization, Dr. Krishna. It's our education system itself is having a lot of gaps. Today, a virus has to come into the picture to tell to the public and an educated people that we need to use sanitizer or wash hands properly. 18 years of serious education to the students, people, they're learning, they're doing PhDs, masters and everything. A small virus today, it is teaching everybody that they have to use sanitizers at home and they have to frequently wash. There is something wrong. Where is our education system going on? It's second thing, when we see a person who is frequently exposed to all kind of the nature activities, they are not getting any COVID, because I have not seen even a single beggar exposed to COVID things as on today. We even did a research. There is no beggar who was attacked by COVID, who always begs, take people, all the shares, the food, everything they are getting exposed to, but there is not even a single COVID patient who is a beggar. So what happening? What is the immune system? Because we are not trying to move along with the nature. We are just trying to protect and everything, these all things. If you really want to be a very healthy person, first thing is, what are the daily requirements of the nutrition that a person has to get? The message of these are the things, like these many kilocalories, joules, these are the minimum vitamins you need to get on daily basis. Whatever they eat, they have to compensate whatever is missing. They have to use some kind of supplements. That's basic. Second thing is, don't try to be too much of like very cleanly, very hygiene. No, it will make you more and more weak. Even a small flu will get attacked. Like did you see any very poor people getting attacked to any kind of big viruses or something? It's not like that. I've seen in the hospitals, the security guard, these people, they never get attacked with any kind of COVID. Even though they're coming back within 5 to 6 days. And 60% to 80% of the people, they have been treated at home itself. Even my mother-in-law, she is like a homeopathy. She treated nearly 97 patients approximately, sitting at home, telling them, take this medicine and it goes off and it's gone. Only thing is, if sometimes it goes to a very critical level of breathing, then they have oxygen concentrators. They are used it to cure it. We are too much of concern and we are too much of careless at the same time. So what we need to do is, first thing, you have to tell the people, you have to be very close to the nature first, in terms of like getting exposed to a proper sunlight, a proper diet. What are the vitamins I need to take daily? What is the supplements I need to take if there is a lack in food or something? And exercise is mandatory. That's it. If a person is psychologically strong, I have seen even from KIMS and other big hospitals, they are just walking off within the fourth day. They guess, I don't care. Even though if I die, I damn care of it. It's okay. I can talk. I can walk. Let the COVID be there. I'm not ready to pay this much of bills. I'm just
Surya, I think you brought a right point, and I think I will invite Dr. Swati to talk about how mindfulness would certainly help people to cope up with this kind of a stress. Dr. Desai.
Yeah. So I do want to say something about the mental health part. It's true that having a certain positive outlook towards yourself and towards life helps. And again, there are research studies, not necessarily with COVID, but otherwise also, to have positive processing of things that are going around you helps you to have better immune system and to combat all these viral kinds of things more. So when you say mindfulness, which has become like a buzzword these days, but the main thing about mindfulness is also the meditation part. So I think that, so I run mindful meditation groups every week. I do it online now. So I have people from all over the world who come for an hour, and we do like 15 minutes of teaching and then a meditation, and then we do discussion. And in that, I call these series of meditations practicing happiness or practicing well-being. I have some people who had COVID infections, they have gotten better, and they are coming to this group. So after COVID, so one of the experience that a lot of times people can have is mentally they have a lack of motivation or they feel down, and it's hard, and sometimes they may have brain fog. They may have a hard time to focus beyond 15-20 minutes. And that is an experience of enough people. So I have some of those kinds of people who come to my groups. And what helps them is what we do is, when we talk about positive, we talk about positive experiences such as gratitude and appreciation and kindness and compassion. And we all have that capacity innately, but it's important to pay attention to it and to cultivate it. So that's what we do. And the people who have had these COVID experiences really, they write to me saying how this really benefits them. So I really think my group is one example, but there are a lot of these kinds of online groups available where you can get what I call mental health help to feel stronger or to be able to focus on the things in life that are working. Because COVID itself is supposed to be affecting the brain. On top of that, because of all the stories you hear and everything, and lockdown and social isolation, it becomes really easy to get sucked into all the negativity. And I don't think that's so good for the health. So those of you who want to, my classes I'm offering, this group is free at this point. If any one of you who's in the audience wants to join it, you can go on my website and subscribe to my newsletter. That way you'll get the notifications. swatidesai.com, that's my website. So you can go and subscribe if you want. But I would suggest, something, a lot of people have their own spiritual practices. Some of them, if not spiritual, they may believe more in science. So they may take, like there are these science classes. In Coursera, there are happiness classes, and some of them is called Science of Happiness or these kinds of things. And I think it really helps to connect with something like that on a regular basis. So that really is one of the tips I would like to give to people. And maybe that's the other thing, Manish, if you want to offer it like post-COVID care a couple of links or something that people could be doing along with food. I mean, these are but I really have to say that because of what you offer, the assurance that you offer, that's the reason why I felt like it was better to be in India than in the US as a COVID experience. It was really good to get everything in one stop.
Yeah, it's really true, Dr. Saudi. In fact, when we were both of us down, I think we do this Buddhist meditation, this
Right.
Namyoho Renge Kyo, and I
Yeah,
think that chanting was creating some vibration,
yeah,
and the way somebody who heads this setup was talking, he says, you know, logic and miracles are completely disconnected. So you cannot explain a miracle with logic, and I think sometimes our logical mind is something which makes us resort to Google, and which is very dangerous. So, Dr. Chaudhary, I come back to you here, and we are almost to the back end of this session. I mean, you how did you keep your mind intact? And of course, Swati was always next to you, but besides that, how were you managing your stress and your anxiety?
Okay. I'll say something about that, but before that, I wanted to mention one thing, which was again related to this issue of India versus US. One of the things I've noticed in India is everybody's a doctor. So when you fall sick, you get advice from everybody you know. Everybody who knows somebody who has had COVID, they have something to tell you. Their brother-in-law has COVID, they know what to prescribe to you. That can be a problem. That can be a problem. You get too much advice.
Yeah.
My suggestion is to stick to one person. If it's serious, get a second opinion, but go to a doctor. Listen to people when they suggest something, thank them for their advice, but stop there. Don't need to take their advice in terms of actual medication. I think stick to your doctor. So for me, with Nano Health, in fact, there were 2 doctors who would call me. And I felt very reassured with that, because this was like getting 2 opinions on a regular basis, and both of them were doctors. In the US, and maybe now it's true in India as well, that there's a 3rd doctor, which is Google. And people think you can Google it out and everything will be clear. And you know what? It's not going to be clear at all. Google is like your family and friends in India magnified 1,000 times. You go to Google, you'll get thousands of advice. I think Google is good in terms of getting educated about what the disease means, what are the symptoms, but don't look to Google for advice. Stick to a doctor. And it's not just the assurance of a doctor. There is something fundamental about connecting with a human being that you trust. And that makes a big difference. So coming back to the question you asked, Dr. Krishna, how did I keep my mind sane? It was to know that I am being taken care of. People are taking care of me, and this will end. That's what kept me calm, relatively speaking, not worry about something a lot. And the fact that they told me that I could call them anytime if I felt uncomfortable with something, just knowing that was very, very helpful. So knowing that there is somebody who's out there whom you can trust and who is available and is reliable was a great deal of gave a great deal of peace to me in terms of my mental makeup. Let's stop here.
Yes, I totally agree with you, Dr. Chaudhary. Although I had never subscribed to Nano Health, but Dr. Harshita Jain would call me even midnight. I had once texted at around 11 o'clock in the night, and close to midnight, she called up and she said, "I'm just done with the day's work. Can I speak to you?" I mean, it was very overwhelming. And the other thing which you very aptly said, this human touch, I think somewhere I often see the Nano Health team doing that part very, very well. In fact, they are connecting the health as a health worker as well as the recipient with a very humanistic touch. I mean, not that, I mean, while I know US has become too commercialized and sometimes too impersonal, India is not very far away either right now. In fact, when we go to hospitals, we still find that kind of a thing. But I think, and that's where the difference, and you very rightly said, if someone takes care of my interest, I think then I'm comfortable. And I think finding that kind of a partner is very difficult. And certainly your neighbors and relatives are the most dangerous partners there. Like they can give you a completely, dangerous advice sometimes. Like I think, and that's where I think you rightly mentioned. Like I said, when my coffee is not tasting well, I have to go to doctor. It's not like I have to wait for something to come. No, I think that was one of the earliest call, and I think today, if I'm sitting and talking, I think that was the thing. Like. Just the 2 days later, we went there and we were infected. And I kind of asked my wife also to join because we are always together. I mean, it is not so easy that, if I had got it, she would have got it again. So good. I think it was a very, very nice, discussion that we had. And one thing which I must confess here is that after more than 25 years of marriage, I think that was 1 week time I had no choice but to spend with my wife in the same room. Like for 8 days we were all the time together. But I think, but it did something good. I think it reinforced some of the bondings, some of the things that we had disconnected. And all the time, I mean, either I was sitting on my laptop or I was speaking to somebody, I was next to her. And that was COVID's gift to us. And Ms. Desai, now can I just ask you to just close this? I mean, have your word and then we'll close this discussion.
I think what you just said about bonding with each other during the lockdown also, right? You're talking about during the lockdown when it was mandatory to spend time with each other. It really worked very well for couples who have had, I think, a long-term marriage. And if you have active problems, that's different. But I have heard this from a lot of couples that they bonded with each other, and this actually turned out to be a great period for them to spend time and feel close to each other. Of course, the couples who have young children who are school going, and if both people are working and all that, then it becomes very, very hard. So I do want to acknowledge that the closeness and bonding is probably depends on the situation. But yes, so just as closing, I would like to emphasize the aspect of preventive health, like your food, your exercise, your supplements or whatever it is, and to have that monitored on a regular basis by someone other than your own relative or other than Dr. Google. I think it really helps. I mean, I can say that based on my own personal experience also. That is something I would strongly suggest. And my own experience or advice is, as I have already said, like have some kind of a practice, some kind of a regular practice. And I'm very happy that after COVID, one thing we both have started doing is doing pranayam together. We have joined a class. And so that's the other thing. That's an example. So having some kind of a routine where you do a nourishing thing, bodily speaking and psychologically speaking, paying attention to your own needs, I think that really, I find that to be a very crucial part of feeling physically fit also. So yeah, just take care of yourself. That's what I would like to say.
Thank you, Swati. Any questions from the audience? Madhu, Sridevi, Surya, you have any questions to the Dr. Bhagwan and Dr. Swati?
Questions not that much. I'm really seeing many people daily, being
So, Manish,
Yeah.
I think Surya has frozen. Maybe he lost the connect, I guess. So, shall we close this session? Manish, you want to say a few things?
Sure. I think just a few words. So, no, at first, thank you for everyone's time, and especially Krishna, Garu, Professor Bhagwan, and Swati ma'am. So, well, after hearing, these are the feedback when we get, it really means a lot for me and my team. And this is exactly the reason, like we have worked very hard to basically get there to actually provide this repeatable quality services. We call it, though Surya said something, wanted to say something, but I think this part of the healthcare is also very, very important. And our goal has been that we should always be just a phone call away, and that also slowly we are moving towards. You should be able to order. Just like we are ordering everything in Amazon. Slow over a period of time. You should be able to order most of these health services on your phone as well. With and complete assurance of the quality. Though it will take still a long time for the healthcare, because it's buying a shoes and buying health is not the same. It'll take a long time to get there. But data, the nudges, financial incentives, I think those have, time and again it has been shown that those kind of overtake and ensure that the quality of the services over a period of time. So thank you so much, and I think it has been a great learning for us, me and our team as well. And we just want to keep following on and ensuring that we can have continue to provide the quality of the services that we could provide to you. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Swati, and thank you, Dr. Chaudhary.
Thank you so much.